Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. You guys know what time it is, man. Welcome back. The AFC West is in the building. I got my brothers. Let's start below, man. Michael Darcy, a.k.a. the KC Sports Report. Little bro, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm glad to be back. Listen, I've got a lot of hatred and animosity towards your teams building up. I've seen a lot of people say a lot of crazy stuff this offseason, especially in the last 2 weeks. And so we're going to unpack that in this live stream. But, man, something about it being July and there's nothing going on.
Nothing.
People just have to drum up these storylines of just nonsense. It's nonsense.
Darcy, it's your own KC sports reporter who's got 100,000 followers on Twitter who's saying Patrick Mahomes is fat because he's fat. So I guess what's wrong with
every offseason he's fat, man, and then he just jumps back into gear. But go ahead, Darcy.
So he actually used to be a part owner of the radio station that I work at in Kansas City, and he had some comments about Andy Reid a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember those.
I do.
Wait, what the Kool-Aid pitcher?
Basically that he's a
burger. Was like a burger away or something. Was that
no? It was no. It was about his lack of parenting to his kids, and then one of them overdosed. It was really messed up. Basically, he had to get bought out of his position at the radio station. Now he's just saying shit for clicks. And as you saw yesterday, Patrick Mahomes' trainer was going back and forth with him on Twitter. It's just man, it's July 9th. We need to chill. We need to relax.
It's way too early for that. And I want to talk about Mahomes as well today. We will be talking about the love affair between him and Max Crosby. No, him and Max Crosby, man, which I love the rivalry, but I also love, the respect that they have for each other. But before we get to that, man, I got our brother Ben in the building, Sports Talk Denver. What's good, brother?
What's good, my man? I need football so bad. I would trade the good weather of summer to just even for a preseason game. I just close my eyes and wake up, man. This has been a long off season.
It's been dreadful, but guess what, man? We're here together as always. Salute to the greatest chat once again. Wipe them feet, man. Get those likes up over at Darcy's channel and mine as well. Also, make sure to check us out later on over on Ben's channel. He does his chop and screw, throw it up and make us look terrible.
So I can edit it to sound like you guys confess to a murder. I can make you say literally whatever I want.
And real quick, we will be at some point here very, very soon. Salute to Jake, salute to NFL Mike. We're going to be working on some things with the Chargers side of things with the AFC West. But for today, the three-headed monster, we're going to hold it down. We're going to cover the Chargers as much as we can. I mean, they're bitches. I think we're pretty much done at this point, right? I mean, we covered them.
They're not going to win the division. So do we need to talk about them?
Yeah. Get them out the way in Brazil week 1, Darce. Just obliterate them. So we don't even have to have a Chargers creator here with us week in and week out. You know what I mean? But
that one loss counts for 17 of them. Just, multiply it.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
But what's going on,
doing, man? How you living your best life or what?
Hey, man, it's slow, bro. The off season, man. This I say this every off season, but I think I mean it the most right now. This has been the roughest off season, man. You know why? Because I think honestly, with all the excitement with the new head coach, the new GM, the new quarterback, it's we just want football now in Raider Nation. And it's just the news is slow. Once again, you guys, Darce just kind of touched on it a little bit. People are just trying to get clicks left and right with all these outrageous ass articles and all that other stuff. So it's we want to talk about everything related to our team, but we also want to stay away from certain subjects because we want to, sustain our credibility, within this realm that we call, the football stratosphere or whatever the hell. I'm going all planetary and shit now, but it's just been weird, man. It's just been a weird off season, but I'm excited to just talk some AFC West football today.
Dude, I think the fact that it's been quiet there truly is a testament to you guys having a well-run organization for the first time in, several decades, maybe there, at least since I've been following the Broncos. So I think it's
adults are in the room.
Yeah, dude, it's good.
Forever.
You could be the Cincinnati Bengals and have clips of Joe Burrow getting more upset than your own head coach about sloppy play and holdouts for your first-round draft pick, and it's a good thing that you're so quiet.
Dude, the Bengals are
wild.
The Bengals
are
great for all of us to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about also a quote that came out of the defensive coordinator's mouth out there in Kansas City with Joe Burrow. I want to talk about that and get Darcy's take on that. But before we do that, hey, happy birthday to my brother Hug, man.
Let's go, Hug.
And he just donated 20. You don't have to do that on your birthday, brother. Hug was born 50 years ago today. Father of 4 great humans, husband to a baddie, business owner, and 176 pounds. Down 44 since January, my brother. New puppy. Football is coming, and life is fucking good. Screw you, Darcy. Ben, you're cool.
Oh my God.
Hug,
dude, 44 down. That's sick.
Can you get that diet and plan to Patrick Mahomes? Can we get that going?
Let's shoot that over to Mahomes for sure.
He might pay you a lot of money.
Yo, hey, Darcy said, go DM Patrick Mahomes right now with the secret recipe that you have drawn up out there in Idaho. Salute to my brother Hug, man. Happy birthday, you old bastard. That's 50 awesome, years old. Holy shit, you are almost dead. Salute to Hug. I'm just fucking with my guy. Salute to Xavier real quick. Question, who's faster? Max Crosby or Laki Tassi? It's got to be Max X. I mean, you guys don't know who Laki Tassi is.
I have no
idea who
He's the Australian guy, right?
The international portal player that just came over, rugby player.
Sounds like a bag of chips.
He's like 6'6" and like 360 pounds or some shit, but hella athletic. But you got to give it to Max, man.
And he doesn't count against your 53, though. Like, same thing with our new punter. That's kind of a nice little loophole.
I thought they changed the rule back, though.
No, if you have an international player, they don't count against your 53.
I'm going to have to look that up because I thought that they did that for the first 2 years.
Oh.
And I think they switched it. But
man. Yeah,
we've been so back and forth with that rule. Yeah. Salute to X, man. Real quick, man. Darcy, what's going on out there in Chiefs Kingdom, man? Off-season training camp is right around the corner. You know, we're starting to hear some things coming out of Kansas City. What's going on out there in Missouri, man?
I'll tell you what, it has been slow just like the rest of you guys, but you guys have had to fill basically an extra month than I did because we lost that Super Bowl. And so we kind of had stuff to talk about for at least a month or two after. And then, you get into the draft, but right now, man, there's just nothing going on. We're in that NFL dead period.
Yeah.
Really the biggest thing going on right now is the Trey Smith contract. And if he's going to get a long-term extension done, is he going to play under the franchise tag, which he's already signed? And so he has no leverage in saying, I'm going to hold out when he's already signed the franchise tag for a guaranteed $23 million. I'm not sure what's going to happen. There's some days where I'm like, the Chiefs are going to get something done here. And then I'm like, oh, it doesn't look good on July 9th when the deadline is July 15th.
Yeah.
And so, listen, I think the Chiefs right now want to get a deal done. I actually think that Trey Smith wants to be here, kind of contrary to what a lot of people think, that he just wants to get paid. And I think he actually wants to be a Chief, and I think he'd actually be willing to take less to be a Chief over the long duration. Now, when I say that, I don't mean he's going to take $15 million a season, but maybe you get him for 23 over 4 or 5, and I feel like that's going to be something that, over the long run, it looks good. And the one thing I'll say for everyone saying that, how are you going to pay a right guard $23 million a year? When the Chiefs signed Joe Thuney back after that Super Bowl loss to the Bucs, everyone was like, how are the Chiefs going to pay a left guard all of this money? And I would say that most people would agree that in 2024, 2025, that looked like a pretty good contract.
Yeah. Well, the market is the market also. Mike, a few years ago, do you guys remember when the guard market completely blew up? I think that, what did Carolina pay Robert Hunt? They paid him a shit ton of money, which he went down there and played really well for him. But they made him one of the highest paid guards in football. I mean, bro, 23 mil. And then also you can sell him on the winning culture that you guys have been able to put together out there in Kansas City. I think it's a no-brainer. I think that Trey wants to stick around. The thing is this. I think that Kansas City, and give me your take on this, Darcy, and Ben, I want to hear your voice on this also. I think they want to see, what he looks like this year. You know what I mean? Because he had a rough Super Bowl run. Right. I mean, Trey that wasn't his best game.
Nobody played well in that.
No, I agree. But once again, do you think that they want to just have him play this out? Because he'll be an unrestricted free agent next offseason if they don't get this done.
Unless they franchise tag him again.
And they could.
Then they could trade him for pennies on the dollar. But
what's the number go up to? Do you know if they throw the tag on him again next year?
I don't know. Right now it's the top 3.4.
Yeah, it'll be the average of the top 5, right? Is what
it might be works, more though, because it's the second time around.
Oh, right. It is.
Yeah.
Dude, you just
put that in the chat. I don't know.
Darcy, honestly, man, that's why what you all built there isn't sustainable. You had a great run, man, but you just have so much money and so few players, and that's just not sustainable, dude.
Should I remind you that Trey Smith was a 6th round draft pick?
He was.
Right, but you got to draft and have depth and let guys walk, but you can't have all that money up in Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and your line. Like, you just can't keep doing that, man. But you need to protect Mahomes. So
his market value is 19.7 per, Ben. So right now, I mean, it doesn't look like it's a crazy asking price. I'm looking right now.
I do think there is an argument to be made that it's not great roster construction to tie up that much money into your offensive line, and specifically the interior.
Yeah.
When you have the best center in football and Creed Humphrey locked down for the future, I could see the Chiefs saying, you know what? We've had enough issues with our offensive line. We think that the kid that we drafted in the 1st round is going to be a steal in Josh Simmons, who, by the way, is going to be fully healthy and ready to go in training camp, which is like, if we knew that going into the draft, there's no way in hell he's going to be there at 32. But I feel like the Chiefs can rationalize, having him play under the franchise tag this year. If they don't get a long-term deal done, maybe they revisit it next year. And if they don't, maybe they franchise tag him again and then pull L'Jarius Sneed and then trade him. And then you go out and find his replacement. But I do think that whatever the Chiefs decide to do, I would be okay if they let him walk or if they sign him. I could talk myself into being okay with it.
Is there somebody that you believe is kind of waiting in the wings right now that could potentially replace him if they allow him to move on after the season?
I mean, there's guys that they have on the roster that I think could fill in nicely. I think Wanya Morris could be someone who's played, sparingly across the entire offensive line.
Yeah.
I think a guy that is going to play a lot at left guard this year is Kingsley Suamataia.
Yes.
He's going to take over for Joe Thuney. I don't really know what the Chiefs' plan is if Trey Smith doesn't work out. I think they could probably also just draft another guy next year, and just, handle it if they don't end up getting something long-term done. But I feel like out of all the concerns, we're not going to be talking too much about this Trey Smith saga or what are the Chiefs going to do at right guard if the guy on the left side ends up panning out.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, whoever it is, Max is going to own them. So, Ben, I think
it's resulted in wins for the Raiders over the past couple of years against the Chiefs.
July 15th, you guys, for those who are in here, Chiefs fans, is the deadline. So they have 6 days to try and figure this thing out. I think that he's going to play under the franchise tag.
Oh, easy.
And that's $23.5 million, right?
Yeah.
23.4, fully guaranteed. Trey Smith's never seen that kind of money in his life. That's why he's not going to hold out. He's not going to pull a Chris Jones from a couple of years ago. He doesn't have the financial, ability to sit out. I think he's someone, because he reported a mandatory minicamp, and that would only been $100,000 if he missed, those 3 days of practice. If I was in his position, I probably would have skipped it, but he was there because he already signed the franchise tag, and he's just not the kind of guy to sit out.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you this real quick. While we're sticking over here in Chiefs Kingdom, I want to ask your take on the whole situation with Patrick Mahomes and Max Crosby. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up on the screen real quick. Salute to everybody here in the building. As always, I'm going to go ahead and take the Pro Football Talk article. Salute to them over there. Patrick Mahomes, Max Crosby is the best pass rusher I played against. And this is a guy that Mahomes gets an opportunity to see twice a season. The competitiveness is definitely there between those guys. On the field, they want to kill each other. Off the field, there's a respect level that is through the roof. This is what Patrick Mahomes had to say on the Up and Adams podcast. I have so much respect for all those guys in the league that are about their craft. They're all about getting better, better, and better. Like he said, we're going to compete. Like we know when we step on that football field, we're going against each other. It's the Raiders, it's the Chiefs, it's the two of the greatest in the league going at each other, snap after snap, and continuing to do it twice a season. And so there's so much healthy respect. But when we get on the football field, it's going to be trash talk. It's going to be going out there. He's going to try and get to me. I'm going to try to make big plays happen. But those are the guys I always say, obviously, he's on the other team, so I want to go against him and beat him. That's the guys you want on your team, the guys who are going to leave it all out there no matter what the score is and be the best that they possibly can be. Then he goes on to say, I think he sacked me the most out of anyone in the league I've ever played against. So to me, he is the best pass rusher that I have played against. And Mahomes has played against the best of the best, the creme de la creme out there. So no offense to any other pass rusher, just put it out there, but he is the best one that I've gone up against because he goes out there and he gives you the most effort. He has the moves, he has the skill, and I think it's hard to have all three of those and have them year in and year out. They went on to say that Crosby has sacked Mahomes 6 times in his career. What do you think about this, Darcy? And I definitely want to get Ben's take on this. Your guy stated that, and salute to 2-4, my guy. Appreciate you on the donation, that Patrick Mahomes is the best pass rusher that he's faced.
So I actually just looked it up. He had 6 sacks in 12 career games. So like he's averaging a sack half the time. So like that's pretty impressive. And I think that the thing that makes this so great is because the Raiders kind of just throwing a shot at you guys. You guys have been so bad for the last, decade that the rivalry has kind of slipped a little bit. But since Max Crosby, who is, an A1 pass rusher, one of the best in the NFL, since he has brought that level of, competitiveness, that edge to the rivalry, it's almost kind of reinvigorated it to a certain extent. And I think that, with you guys bringing Pete Carroll in the building, you guys are not going to be a joke anymore.
No. The expectations are different.
Yeah, it's going to also make it better. The rivalry is going to be better. There's just a different pedigree in the building in Las Vegas. But I feel like Crosby kind of...
Hold on. Darcy, say that again. What happened?
There's going to be a different level. I don't even know what I said.
You said competitiveness, yeah.
Different level of competitiveness in Vegas. Now, I don't mean you guys are going to compete for the division.
Somebody clip that before he goes into this bill. Somebody clip that and shoot it over to me. You guys are not
going to compete for the division, but you're not going to be a laughing stock. Hopefully. No. Hopefully you guys are a laughing stock. I don't want you to be good. But I feel like Crosby brought a level of aggressiveness, and maybe this is wrong for saying, but I feel like he actually cared. And a lot of guys on that team didn't really care about the rivalry because there was no rivalry for a little bit in time. And so I feel like it's good for the AFC West. It's good for the NFL that they kind of have that level of like, I'm the best in the game at this. I'm the best in the game at this. When we go up against each other, stuff's going to happen. And that's just what it's been. Like, there's been times where Crosby's got the better of Mahomes, and there's been times where Mahomes gets the better of Crosby. And it's just been really good for the game and really good for the, the teams in the rivalry.
What's your take on that, Ben? Because you guys you've had some great pass rushers in Denver as well. And Mahomes, Patty faces them twice this season. What's your take on this? And I know that you respect Max a ton as well. Yeah. So, I know the respect levels there.
Totally, man. Yeah. For me, it's like you want your best player to also be your leader. That's the type of players I love, and the thing with Von Miller was like, he was always our best player, but he was always like a quiet guy and kind of a goofball, and he wouldn't rally your team. Like it took Peyton Manning and Marcus Ware to get us that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's what I respect about Mahomes' quote, that he identifies not only does Crosby have the physical and the gifts of the traits to get there, but then he's also like a dog, and you go fight when he's next to you, because he had that streak where he's playing through injuries. And if he's on your injury report, you're like, well, I'm not going to plan on him not being there because he's going to play if he can get out there. So
especially against the Chiefs.
Yeah, man.
He always finds his way into the lineup regardless if he's dealing with a knee injury, ankle injury.
Yeah, he had ankles against us and he still played, and absolutely, man. So I
think Pete's going to protect him from him this year, though. I do believe that Pete Carroll in the building now is not going to allow Max to play as much as he has been accustomed to up to this point. Pete's going to say, look, man, young man, sit down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he needs somebody to protect him from himself, because you can't play 99.9% of the time, especially coming off those nasty injuries. You know what I mean? So, but I love it.
Effective.
Yeah, exactly. But I love the healthy rivalry between those two guys. Max, he just definitely just appreciates excellence. And I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate the Kansas City Chiefs, but you have to give it to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. They have won countless times, especially since Max has been into the league. They have been the top team in our division. I'm old enough to remember when the Chiefs were at the bottom, Darcy. You're not. So, but I remember, you remember, Ben, right? We remember
Never
those days.
Forget it, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But
and honestly, dude,
won the division in my lifetime. Did you know that, Graphk?
Yeah.
In my lifetime, while I've walked this earth, you've never won the division. How does that make you feel?
You were born in 2019, so you seen our team in the playoffs once.
You were in the crib during COVID. Darcy, just to go back to you, I just looked it up. Like your cap issues, you guys are going to fall off a cliff so fast, dude. You guys have 63% of your cap tied up in 5 guys.
Yeah.
And if he signs this franchise tag at 23, that jumps us up. well, I mean, that's without counting that in there. It jumps up to almost 70% of your cap on your top 6 guys. You look at a team like the Eagles, I look them up, 44% of their cap goes to their top 5 guys. It's not sustainable, especially when one of those is Travis Kelce, who is almost as old as Hug D's. Like, that's just a straight up fact. You know,
you act like Kelsey's going to be on the books next year too. Well, and you act like a lot of these guys are going to be on the books next year.
Is this coming, Darcy? Is this the year? Is this it
for Kelsey? Yeah,
this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Last dance.
Okay,
yeah. He's going to be 36 in October.
Yeah, he's definitely getting up there. And last year,
next year he'd be 37.
Yeah, and we seen the decline in his game last year. He didn't look the same as he once was. Salute to Hug. Hey, Darcy, how do you feel about being 3rd in the division? I'd like you to mentally unpack that for the chat. Teams in the division have tightened the gap. Pause between your team and the talent. And you know what, Hug? I love this is the perfect segue because we all 3 have talked, and Jake was in the chat as well. We talked about, and salute to Jake. I see him in the chat comment, and salute to him. That what team is going to regress the most this year, right? And thank God, because I know it's not going to be us because we can't get any worse than what we were last year. 4-13. Pete Carroll in the mix now. I think that regardless of anything, I don't know how we can bottom out worse than what we did last year. I think the only answer is that this is not trying to do on Darcy, but you guys were in the Super Bowl. You were in the Super Bowl last year. I think you're the only team that can really regress worse than anybody else, unless the Broncos or Chargers just completely assed out this year.
The other thing with that, Darcy,
sorry, go ahead.
You won a disproportionate amount of 1-score games, and every single gambling podcast that I listen to talks about like that always regresses to the mean, and that comes out in the wash. Like a team who wins a bunch of 1-score games one year, that does not happen. The next year, you were 11-0 in 1-score games. The Broncos were 1-5.
Fuck that
and
shit.
That's just like you are not going to go 11-0 in 1-score games. You have the hardest schedule in the division. You're flying all over the place, and your players are just a year older, and you're giving more money to guys who are over the hill. And you lost an offensive lineman, and you're playing a guy who 40% of the people never come back from that injury ever again, and you're counting on him to be the future. It's over, Darcy. Admit it.
And Trey Smith is going to look like Alex Leatherwood this year.
Don't put that on us. Is he going to be Alex Kappa? Is it going to be him?
Hey, watch your mouth. I heard he was looking pretty good out there.
I'm sure in shorts. I bet he was looking really good in shorts. That's going to get clipped, but I feel like I need to ask the question: can the Chiefs not win 15 games and still be a better football team? Because I think the answer is yes. I think they could win 13 games and be better overall, because I do agree to a certain extent that you are not going to have the same success in 1-score games, but you're also coming at the team that has went to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. So clearly they're pretty good at this whole winning thing, and you guys just don't understand that. But I feel like this is just complete nonsense. And Ben, are you confident that your team's going to win the division?
Positive, dude.
I am
so should not be. Dude, we were a playoff team last year, and we dominated the offseason. Like every single person is saying that we had the best offseason in football. Like I made a video about it the other day, and just PFF, like we have A+ scores for our offseason across the board.
Darcy, here we go with this PFF shit again.
Well, I use it when
you hate it. It's cherry picking stats. Like, what do you want to? You want to cherry pick this? You want to cherry pick that?
Darcy, you are lucky you're in Kansas City, or I would find someone bigger than you to fight you. I wouldn't. Look, I would find someone to fight you.
Denver had a great offseason, but let me say this: I don't know anybody who had a better offseason than my Raiders.
I actually agree with that. Graphk. But
I'm not saying that it's going to equal us winning the division.
Yes.
But I'm just saying we improved where it mattered the most.
I agree with that.
General manager,
got more ground to cover.
Yes, the coaching staff. We brought in a new quarterback, 2-time Pro Bowler that is already accustomed to what Pete Carroll wants. You know, and he knows his culture, and he's going to help instill that in Vegas. Other teams, I mean, look at Philly, man. Look at Pittsburgh. Look what Baltimore did in the draft. You know, I think Baltimore probably had the best offseason period, but Denver did have let's do this. Can we do like a healthy wager with this? Because chat, can you come up with some ideas for us, please? I want Darcy and I want Ben, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We're not winning the division. Shit, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, I would be happy to find a wild card spot and come in and make some noise. But I'm not gonna say that we're gonna go from the last team in the division to winning this division. Could it happen? Yes. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's find what are you guys willing to bet here?
I think the bet has to include the odds of it, right? Because everyone thinks the Chiefs have a better shot. So here's my wager. I will wear a Patrick Mahomes jersey in every video for the week after, but Darcy has to get a Bo Nix tattoo. That's how odds work. Would you get a Bo Nix tattoo on your lower back? This picture right here.
A Bo Nix tramp stamp? No.
Yep. Okay. Well, that means you don't actually believe in the team.
I do like the jersey bet. I do like that. We could definitely do something like that. Like,
okay.
Who would be like the worst Broncos jersey for me to put on? Like, it would just burn my skin.
Well, for me, it'd be John Elway, but
that'd be sick too, dude, to have an Elway throwback.
You know what? The Broncos jersey of your choice.
Deal.
Maybe whoever.
Shake on it.
Okay, well, look, and we got some time, you guys. So we're gonna hold these guys to this. I definitely
we can add stuff to it. We can make it sweeter. If let's say the Broncos start off the season really well, and the Chiefs might lose a game or two. Maybe we can sweeten the bet. I can get plus odds. Like, who knows?
Or why don't we? I mean, we can keep this kind of easy peasy. I mean, why don't one of us? Whoever loses has to fly somebody out to the other game or something, to a game or something.
I'm down with that.
We're all gonna meet somewhere, right? Like at some point, like let's figure. I mean, you can always go.
Winner gets to pick the location. That could be.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Wherever we go, the thing we talked about off air, you guys still down for?
Yeah.
Not the Diddy party part. The part about about how if we start a bar fight,
he's
free, guys. Diddy's free. Let's
free Diddy
in the chat. About Diddy. The part about like I've always wanted to get in a bar fight with friends who like had my back, and you guys said you'd have my back.
Yeah.
Never actually thrown a punch, so that could be fun.
Well, if you want to do that, let's go to Oakland. We just go over there. Yeah, salute the King, Jamie the Mad. I got your back, Darcy. Let the losers say what they say. Their boos mean nothing. I've seen what they cheer for. Keep up the good work, bro.
Talk that shit.
Salute to King Jamie. Appreciate you on the $5 special. And salute to everybody over there watching also on Lil Bro's channel. Make sure you guys get those likes up. Keep our bro in the algorithm. Make sure you also go subscribe to our brother Ben. He is doing phenomenal. Can we talk about something real quick? I mean, can we throw it out there, Ben, or no?
Well, now I'm like worried because I like sent him the link yesterday and didn't hear back. But let's I think tomorrow I'm doing an interview with Marvin Mims Jr. So that's pretty sick, dude. Yeah, man. Super pumped. Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy? This is how small this world is. We were literally talking about Marvin Mims on yesterday's show, and then you texted me that.
That's
you said,
wild,
hey,
man.
Well, I was like, well, that's crazy. So salute to Ben doing big things out there. And Darcy has some things on the way as well. So stay tuned. Trust and believe there's going to be a player or two popping up over on his platform very, very soon also. So salute to my guys doing phenomenal work over there on their platform. Salute to Kid Raider. On paper, the Chiefs defense ain't messing with our offense. Kid Raider, let me say this.
What?
There's a lot of unproven talent on our offense right now. Okay. Look, the Chiefs have one of the better defenses in football. They have one of the greatest defensive minds with their defensive coordinator out there in Spags. I got to pump the brakes, Kid Raider. You know, I love my team as much as you do, brother. But I have to say this. We got to pump the brakes a little bit. Dante Thornton, unproven. That's my guy. Jack Besh, unproven. That's my guy. Brock year 2. What's Michael Mayer going to look like? What's Geno going to look like year 1? What's our O-line going to look like? We got to kind of pump the brakes there a little bit. You know, that this is a Super Bowl winning defense, Darcy. You know, and once again, we haven't even seen these guys play together on the offensive side of the football. I love your enthusiasm, Kid Raider, but we got to keep it a buck here. I got to call cap on that, brother.
You know, it's comments
you didn't even mention Ash and Genty, bro.
Very disappointed here in like 4 months. It's that kind of stuff. You're going to be like, oh.
Dude, it is hard. Like,
we're 4-13 again.
The Raiders thrown out.
Hey, fuck you, Darcy. Don't throw that into the universe. Don't do it.
5-12.
But Geno honestly does look like he's slinging it right now. Like all the hype videos that are coming out, and I don't know if they're like editing it deceptively, but it honestly had me be like, oh crap, man.
You know,
when we played him last year in Seattle, I'm like, he's not good.
I've spoken to players. Been out there. I've spoken to beat writers. I've actually spoken to a few people that work for the team. Whatever you're hearing is actual facts. Geno looks really good out there. And, you know, once again, he's one of the best deep ball throwers in football, right? And he has 2 speedsters now with Dante Thornton and Trey Tucker. It's going to be fun. Then you got the #1 tight end in football with Brock Bowers. with Ashton Genty in the mix, this is going to be a fun offense to see. But once again, I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit until I actually see this team perform. The pads come on here soon. The 17th, the Rooks are out there, and then the 22nd, the vets will be reporting. Ben, do you know the update on your training camp as well? I don't know.
Very similar. Rookies in the building next week, and then vets the week after. So, I mean, there's some weird contract stuff, and the Broncos are so quiet, man. Like, we don't hear anything, but we still haven't signed our first round draft pick. He's the last one to sign, Jahdae Barron. And then I don't think anyone in the league.
Second round. Everybody's dealing with it because Cleveland and the Texans chose to just throw a monkey wrench into the game and fully guarantee their guys. So now everybody's at a standstill waiting. They'll be signed. There's no issues. No one's going to be holding out. But once again, they're just waiting because Carson Schweitzner, the linebacker with Cleveland, and then Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver in Houston, got fully guaranteed contracts as second-round guys. Dang. And they just literally threw a monkey wrench in the game.
Wow.
So that's why. Darcy, when's training camp for you guys, brother?
I think they report on the 20th.
Okay.
And I think it starts on the 22nd. But so we're, less than 2 weeks away?
Yeah. So the 19th, Rashee Rice is going to do some Uber driving around town. And
I'll tell you what, awesome. Hopefully not.
Any word on his suspension?
There's no criminal court date set. So I think he's not going to get suspended. And doesn't that make you just so happy? Doesn't that make you just fill with so much joy?
But like,
I live right down the street from where it happened. I got to make a call, man.
Dude, but after Graphk just hits up the police station and files a police report. But isn't Roger Goodell can still do like detrimental to conduct, right? Like even without a criminal.
The criminal case hasn't been settled yet. The NFL hasn't been,
Rice is going to play. And to be honest, man, until they really actually get some solid, evidence on this situation. Look, man, we're going to see Rice out there in a Chiefs jersey.
Other than the dash cam footage of him walking away from a crash, that seems pretty solid to me.
As they continue to kick this can down the road, the suspension is going to be less. I sat here and listened to Ben say it was going to be 8 games. 8 games.
I still think it is, dude.
Yo, salute to Snake Sports Talk Show, our guy. We are not. He said, am I a ghost in here? No, you're not a ghost, brother. Salute to you. I want to ask you real quick. Who have you heard that's like performing well out there early on at OTAs, mandatory minicamp? Darcy, have you heard some things about some certain players, maybe some young guys that are standing out?
I mean, it's kind of difficult. I think that Omar Norman-Lott, our second-round draft pick, he's going to be a beast this year and kind of helping out Chris Jones, with that interior pressure. There's a couple guys that are getting a lot of hype. Like, weirdly enough, Tyquan Thornton, the guy that, used to be a New England Patriot, he's actually looking pretty good. Not sure if he's going to make the team, but, again, June, July, guys kind of just get, hyped up a lot. Elijah Badger is someone that has been, talked about very highly. Jake Brenningstool, the Clemson tight end, he's someone that has a lot of hype. Apparently, Robert Tonyan has been just a ball-catching machine as like their third or fourth tight end. Again, I don't think he's going to make the team, but it's interesting to kind of see different guys showcase their ability. I'll tell you what.
I've heard Brashard Smith out there too, dude.
Yeah.
Brashard Smith is someone.
Which makes me
mad.
I'm
scared to see what they're going to do with him because I think there's going to be a lot of hype around him, but I also don't think he's going to play all that much. He's definitely going to make the team, but I don't know what his role on the team is going to be because you have to be able to block. And if you can't block, you're not playing.
I'm keeping an eye on my guy, Elijah Badger. Once again, I'm actually shocked that it took that long for him to find a home. The quarterback situation was really bad out there in Florida. I think he had it was a crazy amount of different quarterbacks that was throwing him the football. This guy can play every position at the wide receiver spot, special teams guy. And I definitely am excited to see him. I hate that he's in a Kansas City Chiefs jersey. We were in a group chat yesterday, and I just said, I hate your guys' team. And Darcy, I hope you've seen that, brother.
I did.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? But salute to him, Sacramento's own, from my hometown. Salute to my brother Paul as well, his agent. Love to see it. Ben, what's going on out there in Broncos country?
We're just getting ready to win the AFC West. So, I mean, just normal business here.
You guys do normally win it in the offseason. That is true.
Get out of here, Darce. A lot of stuff has been leaking about Caleb Lohner. He was our 7th round tight end pick. Played like 40 snaps at the University of Utah.
Yeah.
And when Sean Payton called him and drafted him, I guess on the phone, that's kind of the information that's come out that he picked up the phone and said, "Have you heard of Jimmy Graham? Let's go make you the next Jimmy Graham."
Ooh.
And just a guy who played college basketball at Baylor and a couple other places. 6'6". I think his catch radius, like with his arm span and his vertical jump, is like 16 feet. So thinking that like you can just freaking throw the ball 16 feet in the air and he comes down with it is just wild, you know.
Hey, Darcy, let's make a bet real quick. You want to make a bet? Because while Ben talks about this guy, how much you want to bet that he doesn't make the team?
Oh, he's making the team, dude. Because on top of that,
Denver's tight ends suck.
Well, we got
to go.
Okay, hey, let's add to our bet. Let's add a leg to this that Evan Ingram will have a better year than Travis Kelce. I know you won't take that bet. You won't. That's the easiest bet in the history of football.
Let's do this. Brock Bowers has a better year than both of them combined.
I agree with that.
What are we defining best year? Yards, catches, touchdowns,
all the above.
Snaps.
All the
like
above.
What if Kelce has more receptions, fewer yards, and more touchdowns?
He will have fewer all of those. So make it easy on yourself, young blood.
What's the word on Bo Nix out there right now? How is he looking, man? Getting accustomed to some of these new guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's first time in his career where he's since going back to high school that he's had the same offensive coordinator and head coach moving into an offseason. Just seeing that, you know, he's not putting out rap albums and, you know, like we see with Anthony Richardson and all these hype videos. He's hosting his own passing camp with the dudes. He's going to fly him out. But, just a good guy showing up, kind of the cheerleader of Denver, if you will. He's like, you know, sitting on the ice for Avalanche games, courtside for Nuggets games before they got knocked out of the playoffs.
He's becoming the face now out there.
He truly is. And it just happened so fast to go from this time last year. We were having a quarterback controversy. Everyone wanted Stidham to start. And it's just wild to go from like, you know, he's a captain now. And like, he is the face of our franchise. And, you know,
any word on our guy, Pat Bryant, the big body, you know, Illinois wide receiver that I think you guys reached on in the third round, but I think that it's still a great pickup. But
yeah, man. And you just look at where Sean has hit on wide receiver talent, and that he said he reminds me of Michael Thomas, which he snagged out of the 7th round, and he looked incredible at OTAs. And obviously, you're not even wearing shoulder pads, but just his footwork. I thought like he was running in slow motion, and then they sped it up because it's just his hips. They don't lie. They're like Darcy's hips.
Can I say something?
I'm waiting for this, Darcy. I'm waiting. Go ahead, brother.
Sean Payton is so full of shit. And the fact that you're over in Denver just going like this, just eating it up.
Next Jimmy Graham.
Darcy,
Darcy,
you haven't.
Thomas, Jimmy Graham, what are you talking about?
You haven't told me.
What is happening?
You haven't told me one time, Darcy, that he's been wrong.
Tunyon's
when has he been wrong?
George Kittle. Robert, what are we talking about?
Darcy, what is one time Sean Payton has said something that hasn't come true since he's been in Denver? He's batting 1,000, dude. Like, I've tried to look at it objectively. Yes, it is.
Not true.
We were predicted to win 5 games last year. And you said you're not, and I was like, dude, Sean Payton's the winningest coach in October, and he did it again. Like every single thing he said has come true. And so at this point, I just trust him. So point out something that he has said that I was wrong about. Like I told you Bo Nix was going to be good, and he was. I didn't say we were going to win the division last year.
He said you're going to win the division at all?
No.
Okay, well, look. This is the cool thing now. Now we have something to go off of, Darcy, because now we're expecting this 7th round kid to be the next
Michael Thomas and fucking Jimmy Graham.
Well, we got the next Drew Brees, and that's way bigger of a stretch than any of those are. Finding a quarterback is the hardest thing to do in professional sports, and he did it, and you laughed at it when he did it. And who's laughing now?
It looks like he made the right choice. But once again, going into year 2, we know how this thing goes. Ben, I'm not here to call Bo Nix a bust because he played phenomenal last season. But once again, I want to see him be able to get over that sophomore hump because we've seen it year after year.
Can I
go ahead?
A sophomore hump you start to see at the end of your first season. Bo Nix didn't throw his first touchdown pass until week 4, and then he had the second most touchdowns as a rookie in NFL history. He had more touchdowns than Jaden Daniels did. He had more touchdowns last year as a freaking rookie, not throwing his first one in week 4 than Patrick Mahomes. So he's not going to have a sophomore slump. This is the first time he's had continuity. If the league was going to figure him out, it would have been at the end of last season, and they didn't. So
that's just not true.
What part of what I just said is not true?
DJ Stroud won a playoff game in his rookie season, and he was worse in his second year. Patrick Mahomes was worse in his sophomore season because he had a great rookie season, or third season he had kind of a down year, but he was still great. But that's just because you can't replicate that type of production. Here's the thing. What if Bo Nix ends up being Justin Herbert? Mr. Flashy, they win games. They're still competitive, puts up a bunch of stats, but you guys are continually losing in the playoffs. Is that a success?
No.
Would you sign up for him being Justin Herbert right now?
No, I wouldn't. Ooh. But I think the other part is like, I think if you had built a team around Justin Herbert in his first 5 years of the contract, you could have won the Super Bowl with Justin Herbert. So I think I trust Sean Payton that if that is his ceiling, that we have 4 more years of perfect contract to build a team around. Like, here's when the Broncos won.
Great teams did he build in New Orleans after that Super Bowl run, and they didn't do anything.
Well, he's the winningest coach in New Orleans history, and they did it. They were in
dumpster fire.
They were a perennial playoff team with him there. They were in multiple NFC.
But they never did anything.
Games.
That's my point. They never actually did anything. They never even went back to the Super Bowl.
I'm enjoying.
They didn't even go back to the Super Bowl after, what was it, 2008 when they went? 2007?
You have no respect for Hurricane Katrina, and I think you need to get muted right now. You probably think they seeded the clouds or something, bro. Like, this is disrespectful.
Real quick, man. Salute to Snake Fist. Greetings, Graphk. Gino is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Yep, we just talked about this. Trey and Dante, Brock Myers, and best defenses should fear us. Hashtag hopefully. Salute to my guy, Snake Fist Kempo Raider. Appreciate you on the $5 special. How are we feeling about this depth chart, Ben, with your Denver Broncos? I'm going to be honest right now, man. We haven't seen a snap thus far. But let me bring this up real quick on the screen. Salute to Mile High Report. They just dropped something here. This is nothing to like, Darcy, we got to give the Denver Broncos their respect. I mean, I'm looking at this, man. Cortland, Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, which is an all-pro guy, Pro Bowl guy, but more of a special teams guy. Do you think that he's going to kind of hit that corner this year, Ben, in terms of just at the wide receiver position? Other than
I do, man, because like if you take his last 5 games and it was against playoff teams, there was one game against Darcy's team where they rested the offensive starters. They rested 2 defenders on that whole defense, and we put 38 up on him. But he had multiple.
Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, Drew Tranquill. That's 3, and I haven't even continue.
I think Tranquill played, but you only can have 53 on your roster, so I think it was 2 defensive starters. But regardless of that, if you take he had multiple 2-touchdown games. I think he had 5 touchdowns over his last 5 games. And so I think he has morphed himself from a gadget player to an actual wide receiver, and learned the route tree. He came out of Oklahoma saying like, I had one route that I could run, and he's really added to that. So I think the most interesting thing is what we're going to do at running back. We saw last season, we cut Samaje.
Yeah.
He gets picked up by the Chiefs, and that was brutal to watch him play for the Chiefs deep into the playoffs. For sure.
He iced the AFC Championship.
I know, man. It was one of the hardest things to watch. And then Tim Patrick going and playing with the Lions in the playoffs was hard too. Still
questionable with the skill players at the receiver position. I got to be honest. Once again, you guys kind of hope that some of these guys turn that corner. We talked about Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. Yep. He needs to find a way to get active in that offense. Pat Bryant, I think, is going to be a stud for you guys. One of the great offensive lines in football. We're not going to touch on that, but this is the thing that kills me, because if you guys commit to the run, which your head coach should when you have a young quarterback in Bo Nix, I think that was kind of a detriment to that offense last year, making him throw once again for 50 fucking times a game. But this could be one of the nastiest running back groups in football, Darcy. I got to keep it a buck. RJ Harvey's going to be a stud. You got JK.
I don't see what you see, but
dude, JK was the best running back in our division last season, and he's on our team now. So like, I don't get how you're saying that, dude.
And maybe I'm tripping because I watch a ton of college football. I'm a Notre Dame guy, so I love Audric Estime. I don't know what they're going to do with him at this point, but they got Tyler Beatty, another guy from Missouri I watched really close. And then Blake Watson played at Memphis, I believe. Yep. That's another interesting name. But this could be one of the better running back groups in the NFL if your head coach once again commits to the run.
And if JK stays healthy. That's the thing that I didn't even know about him. But if you extrapolate JK, he would be the 3rd he averages the third most running of any running back in NFL history, but he hasn't hit the minimum number of carries to qualify for that stat because he never stays healthy. Yeah. But the Broncos hired this guy named Bo Landry from LSU, and he has kept the Broncos as the healthiest team in football 2 seasons in a row. And then this offseason, we went and got a guy from the Golden State Warriors, and he's like a tech guy whose job is to help keep players healthy. So I think JK will stay healthy, and I think our running back room is wildly great.
I wanted to bring this up real quick because we already know how great you guys' defense is. It hurts my soul to say it, but I'm looking at these DBs, and Darcy sent the group something earlier about PFF, which, Ben loves PFF. This secondary, this could be one of the top-notch secondaries in football. I mean, once again, I know that Jahdae Barron's not signed yet, but he will be. This is a guy that can be an all-pro nickel corner for you guys for the next 10-plus years. You got Pat Surtain, probably the best corner in football. Riley Moss is a stud. But this was interesting to me because PFF put something on Twitter. Let me bring this back up real quick once again.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I got it right here. On Twitter, boom. I think this is it. Yep, boom. And this is the top 10 secondaries in the NFL today, according to PFF, okay? I don't agree with this because the Chargers are there, and I don't think that the Chargers have a top 10 secondary right now. I know that Derwin is there. There's a lot of question marks to me in that secondary. But, Ben, how do you feel right now being third, one behind the Kansas City Chiefs who are at 2? I think Baltimore should be number 1. They have Kyle Hamilton, Wiggins. I mean, they went out and got Jair Alexander. They had who they get in the draft? Starks, I believe. They have a phenomenal, secondary. On paper.
Everyone stays healthy, yeah.
The Texans definitely belong there in the top 5. Interesting that the Patriots are there. I know they got young Christian, but what's that thing going to look like in year 1? I know Vrabel's a defensive-minded guy, but I don't know if I would put the Pats there at 5. Detroit belongs on this list when healthy. Chicago, definitely. Philly should be way higher on this list than me. To me, I don't know why the Chargers are here. The Colts are interesting. But, Ben, how do you feel about this? Because I honestly, yes, the Chiefs have a great defense, but I got Denver above the Chiefs on this list in terms of top 10 secondaries.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they are assuming Hufanga is going to keep being hurt, but I thought it was blasphemous on it. Pat Surtain isn't just the best corner in football. He was the defensive player of the year, and he is up for the NFL player of the year. He probably isn't going to win it. It'll probably go to Jalen Hurts, but it's 1, and there's a huge jump between 1A or 1B, and it's not even close. And that's not a homer saying it. That's like the NFL defensive player of the year voters saying that. So I think there, and then I think if you look at Riley Moss before he got hurt in that Raiders game, he was a different player, and you look at how he was scored throughout. When he came back from that injury, he wasn't 100%. And I think that is the best cornerback duo in the league. And then I think Hufanga is going to be amazing if he stays healthy. So I don't know if they're just putting the caveat of health on there, but I don't think the Chiefs are better than us. I get Baltimore grabbing that cat out of Green Bay. That sounds great, but he's really good at the coin flip.
It's actually kind of shocking that Pittsburgh's not here with Porter, Jalen Ramsey, and Darius Slay. I thought that they'd be a top. I know they got a little older there. Well, not a lot older in that secondary, but they still have future Hall of Famers there. I would assume that they would be at least a top over the Chargers and Colts to me. Darcy, how do you call this list? And do you honestly believe, take the homer shit out of it, do you think that you have a better secondary than the Denver Broncos?
So to kind of go over the list, I definitely agree. The Eagles should be much higher on this.
Yes.
They should be top 5.
3, 4.
At least I don't like the Colts at all. I don't like the Chargers at all. 8 and 9, or I guess 9 and 10. You can kind of get rid of those. I do think our secondary is better because I think that secondary is taking into account safety play. And just truthfully, I think our cornerbacks, you made the injury comment. Our number 2 cornerback last year came back from a broken ankle and was still playing at a high level when he came back. And you also signed Christian Fulton this year, which is going to let Trent McDuffie go back to, where he was an all-pro at playing in the slot. And so I absolutely think if we want to take just personnel-wise, our secondary has better safeties, and I think cornerbacks, we're not that far away. Honestly, you might have the better corner in Surtain, but I think we might have more depth in that room, and I definitely think our safety room's better.
And I see everybody in the chat. I get it. We do not belong on this list. On paper, we probably have one of the worst secondaries in football. Now, I don't think that that's going to be what it's going to look like and what's going to translate on the field. I think that Jeremy Chin is going to be a stud. I think that Polamalu is going to be a stud. I do believe that Darian Porter in year one, our young rookie, is going to be a baller. And I think that Jacorian Bennett is going to, look really good opposite of him with Eric Stokes in the mix as well. But once again, there's a lot of unproven talent in that room, and we definitely belong in the basement when it comes to top secondaries in the NFL right now. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to my people about how I feel about that secondary. I like that we got younger. I like the youth movement there, and I definitely believe in Pete Carroll, the DB whisperer. Totally. Once again, on paper, I got to keep it a buck here, you guys. If we started week one tomorrow, Darnay Holmes would probably be the starting nickel for us, or Harper. That's kind of scary for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do believe that Darian Porter is going to be a stud in year one. I think that Pete Carroll is going to find a way to have him have a Tariq Woolen type rookie year, where Tariq Woolen was a fifth rounder, came in and led the league in picks. I think he had 6. He was tied his rookie season, All Pro Bowl year. I think he's going to have that kind of year. I'm telling y'all now, Darian Porter is a stud. But once again, this is an interesting list. I think the bottom half of it got a little weird. I definitely agree with the top 5. Take the Patriots. I would bring them lower and put Philly up there. Yeah. But interesting.
Did Jack Jones ever end up signing anywhere?
No, he's still a free agent.
What's up with that? Was there character
issues? Okay. Showing up late, a lot of off-field stuff. Last I heard, I spoke to a few people that's very close to him. He's out there in Arizona training right now, trying to get right. And he was just on the pivot, letting teams know that he's very interested in coming back, and he'll get his shit together. One thing I loved about that, Ben, was accountability. Yeah. He said, it's all me. He said it was all me. He said it was all me. The reason why I don't have a job right now. You love to see that, because a lot of these young guys will be like, I wasn't in a good situation and this and that. He didn't do that. He held himself fully accountable. So you love to see it. Salute to the chat. As always, we appreciate you guys so much. Coming up on an hour, I want to end this show with training camp right around the corner, you guys. And we may have touched on this earlier on in the offseason, but I want your updated enthusiasm, so to speak, with 3 players going into training camp that you guys are most excited to see from your team. Start with Darcy. Give us 3 players, man, that maybe you're hearing great things about, or you're expecting great things to come when training camp comes around and the pads get to rolling.
I think the biggest player that has maybe the most hype around him is Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice is someone that you kind of saw him break out last year in the very short sample size. He was on pace for 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns, something ridiculous like that. He wasn't going to get that, but he easily would have cracked 1,000 yards. And I think that you kind of saw the Chiefs offense after losing Hollywood Brown in the preseason and losing Rashee Rice in week 4. They didn't really have answers. And so I think that, getting those guys back in the mix, having Xavier Worthy, who's also looked really good. I think this wide receiver room, not to, pick all of the wide receivers, but I think the wide receiver room is easily going to be one of the biggest improvements that this team had, from last year. I think a guy on defense that I'm really excited to see what he's going to do is, there's 2 rookies. There's Omar Norman-Lott, and then there's Ashton Gillotte, who's defensive end. I think that those guys should be really interesting to see how they integrate into this defense. They could start I think Omar Norman-Lott's going to start day 1. Gilotte's going to have a chance to start pretty early on in the season. And if he's not a starter, he's going to be a pretty heavy rotational defensive end. And so I guess my final player, I'm going to say I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be better this year. And I know that's not really a scorching hot take, but I think that he's kind of listened to a lot of the noise. I think his offense is going to be healthier, and there's also a different approach going into this season. I think
you mean better than recent memory, right? Yes. Not like the top Patrick Mahomes. You mean better than
he could be an MVP candidate this year. I think that given the talent at his disposal, which is more talent at the wide receiver position. If you look at the seasons that he's won MVPs, go back to 2022. He won the MVP throwing touchdowns to Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and MVS. Like, I think that the talent is just way more advanced this time around. If everybody stays healthy, he is going to have a much better season than he did last year.
Any word on Hollywood Brown and how he's looking out there?
Yeah, he's looking healthy. It's interesting. All of the wide receivers cut their hair. So, like, I don't know what is going on, but, like, they all kind of, I was like, kind of scary because it's just like, you know, they're locked in. I think Hollywood Brown has every reason to go out there and ball this year. If he stays healthy, he's trying to get paid. Again, another 1-year deal. If he goes out there and puts up 800 yards, he can make $10 million a year. He can make more than that.
Ben, give me 3 guys, man. You're excited about Paul's going into training camp.
So many, man. I would say for Pat Bryant, excited to see. Why did Sean draft him in the 3rd when everyone else had him as a 6th round guy? Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. But for sure, excited about that. And we haven't had a slot receiver in a long time, you know. So that'd be cool. Evan Ingram, very, very excited to finally have a tight end. You always hear about a rookie quarterback's best friend is the run game and a tight end. And Bo Nix put up wild numbers without either of those things. So that's exciting. And then I'll say Q Robinson, I'm real excited about. Broncos drafted him, out of Alabama. And we had 16 guys last year on this Broncos defense, which was the top 3 defense last season, who had at least a half of a sack. And we broke a franchise record with 63 sacks. And if we have another guy to throw in that platoon, I just think it could be dangerous, you know?
Okay. I'll give you 3 players. I've kind of talked about it on my channel, but kind of switched up a little bit. I mean, Ashton Genty is the easiest one to choose. I'm excited to see if he can be this generational player that most people think that he can become. Watching him very closely, I just talked about Darian Porter, a kid that is going to have every opportunity to start week 1 for Pete Carroll in this defense. He's 6'4", ran a 4.3 40, fast as all get up. Former wide receiver, just moved over. He hasn't played a ton at the corner spot. A lot of Richard Sherman comparisons because of the former wide receiver converted, you know, and Pete Carroll, the connection there. Definitely excited about him. And then Malcolm Kuntz, my guy. I'm excited to see what he looks like opposite of Max Crosby. He's healthy. He missed all last season with a nasty knee injury. I'm already hearing that he is locked in like crazy. It's going to be fun to watch him play opposite of Max. We already know what Max is going to do. And I'm going to throw another wild card out there, Tyree Wilson, another edge rusher that is going into year 3 that got better last year in year 2. I want to see, everybody always says year 3 is the year where these kids start to really turn that corner. It's going to be interesting to see if Tyree Wilson can be the guy. So those are my 3 players with the wild card with Tyree Wilson as well. You guys got anything else, man, to throw out there into the universe before we get out of here?
Gardner Minshew is going to have a touchdown in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs.
How's that going to work? Like a Philly special?
Philly special.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, he's going to be doing this.
Yeah, he really will.
All season long on the bench.
Minshew mania.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
Ben, what time is your interview supposed to be tomorrow?
4 Eastern time. I won't do it live. I'll record it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you guys, Bronco fans in the chat, or us Raider fans that want to go over there and troll the chat away, Marvin Mims tomorrow, guy that is from the area where I live, Lone Star High School legend.
Same high school as Ashton Genty, right? Can you imagine? Like the talent there is just wild, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's that school has put out a ton of talent.
Have you ever gone to a game there?
I haven't, but we're going to go this year.
Yeah,
for sure. We've already been talking about it. I've been going over there and taking my son and kind of getting him. This is where Ashton played. Wow. You know what I mean? So, he thinks it's really cool. So salute to Simple is F. This is facts. A competitive AFC West is good for the NFL, man. Salute to my guy. And yes, Ryan, this is definitely a Napoleon Kaufman jersey. I had to throw my Kaufman, my old school. That's one of my favorite running backs of all time. So definitely had to do that. Salute to everybody here in the building. Also, salute to my guy, MTV Jr., man, gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. Salute to all the new members because of my guy, Raider 96. Thank you. If you guys missed out on those and want to become a member, hit the link. It's pinned up top. You guys have memberships over on your channels, or?
I don't even understand.
I got to get it started.
Yeah, I need to understand how that.
Okay, y'all are tweaking, man. Reach out to me behind it.
Yeah. Teach me how to do YouTube.
Yeah, get that rolling because y'all are tweaking.
I just don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah. So Other than that, man, as always, we will be back next week because training camp is right around the corner. We'll have a ton to talk about. And also, I'm working on trying to bring on a few players that have played for a few teams in the AFC West on our show. I definitely want to start with, I got to reach out to my guy, Marquette. I would love to bring Marquette on the show. Former Raider, former Bronco. Hates the Chiefs. So you'd love to see that. And we're going to reach out to some other guys. So stay tuned for that, as always. And we'll be back. I think I'm maybe doing a coffee and convo tomorrow also. What do you guys got on the menu? Anything, Darcy, on the way?
Just surviving this 10 days till training camp. Probably some shorts. I've been really enjoying making those. I made a Mahomes fat one the other day, so Ooh. That's
If Marquette King is coming on here, I'm just doing push-ups till he's here, so he thinks I'm tough. Do you think he'll think I'm pretty cool?
He would love you.
Okay.
Marquette would love me.
Yeah. Marquette is a free-spirited. He's just a guy that loves everybody, bro.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm telling you right now. So you would absolutely love it. Salute to 2-4. Graphk, this show is fire. Always that great content. Always great to clown Darcy. You love to see it. You love to see it. You love it. And Darcy loves all of it too. So it's all good. Other than that, man, anything else, you guys?
One more thing. I did see this. You guys were mid-conversation. I didn't want to interrupt you guys. When we were talking about Rashee Rice, I saw a bunch of people in the chat that were like, oh, the Chiefs and just players of above the law. You guys realize you're the Raiders, right? We can go down a laundry list of Raiders that have done some pretty questionable things.
Darcy, why are we talking about old shit? Why are we talking about old shit, man?
I just had to bring it up.
We haven't had a Damon Arnett in a while. We haven't had a Henry Ruggs in a while. It's been a minute.
Maybe 2026 is his year. Maybe you'll bring him back.
We did have a DUI last year. Salute to Charles Snowden. He had his truck hanging over a Jack in the Box drive-through or some shit. It was nasty work.
Have we all avoided controversy this offseason?
We have.
Well, Gino kind of got in a fight on the sideline of a high school game, right?
No, that was bullshit.
He did, though.
It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a fight. He was out there just being competitive. It wasn't a big deal.
Unless someone's in jail, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But you know what, though? You know what, Darcy? We have had some bad shit happen in the AFC West this offseason. You guys want to know what it is?
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it already. Apparently, there's a new Jimmy Graham and a new fucking the slant god. Apparently, we have a new slant god and a new Jimmy Graham in Denver.
Your mic just cut out, Graphk. We didn't.
They are not.
Michael Thomas 2.0 and Jimmy Graham 2.0.
I cannot wait till you guys eat this.
I'm sitting at 4 and 5. We're gonna see if Jimmy Graham and Michael Thomas end up being that important to their team.
There you go, man. Salute and good luck tomorrow with the Marvin Mims stuff. You don't need it, but I know you're gonna have some fun over there. Salute to my brother Darcy doing great things out there with the KC Sports Report. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him also. And real quick, for those who are just joining, hit the comment section afterwards. Let us know some things you would like for us to talk about next week. Give us some ideas. We would love to get you guys more involved with the show. So make sure you guys subscribe, comment after this. Let us know some stuff you want to talk about. And we'll definitely do that. Other than that, man, we appreciate you guys so much. On the way out, get those likes up. Make sure you wipe them feet on my channel and also hit that subscribe button on Sports Talk Denver, KC Sports Report, and also the OLV Raiders Network. Salute to all my people in the building. We are out. Raiders!